Hello guys, welcome back to another stream. So today we'll be building this beautiful dentist app that we have here. So it is a kind of a landing page of a dental website. So this basically has few interactions. So if you first refresh, like I'm gonna do here, I'm just gonna hit F5. And if you go here, it has few effects, and also it has the carousel menu on the right sidebar. Also has few good styling UI, and also has a submit form where you can submit. And we'll be building all of this in today's stream. So hope you guys are excited. And if you are, hit that like button, and it's also responsive. If you're excited, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And without further ado, let's get started. It also has a menu. So let's go. Let's get started. So here I have a project folder that we are going to use. So I'm going to quickly make our index.html, our style.css, and our script.js file. Now I'm going to see if my recording, okay, so I'm actually streaming. So what I'm going to do here is quickly make our boilerplate code. I'm going to give a link to our style.css. Also, I'm going to put my script.js. So after that, I'm going to give a title saying I can give code dentist. I'm just making up names. I'm just going to do dental care services. So that will be our title. Another thing I need to do is link our font awesome icon style sheet. So I have the Cloudflare CDN font awesome link, which is a link to a style sheet which allows us to use font awesome icons. So after all of that, I'm going to hit go live. This will open our terminal. It will open our page, right? It will start our server, and now we can actually start making our project. So here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap everything around a main content. Since we have two bars, like a left page and a right sidebar, to achieve that, we have to wrap everything around one main content. So I'm going to make a div with saying main content. Right inside this, now I'm going to start to make our header. I'm going to quickly put a comment here. I'm going to use the header tag. Inside header, I'm going to use the nav tag. And first, inside the nav tag, I'm going to make our logo. So I'm going to make a div called logos. Let's say that is codin test. Funny name. Also use a span tag. And inside the span tag, I'm going to do something like care. I don't know. It's just a random name. So next, what I'm going to do is after all of this, I'm going to make I'm also going to do word wrap so you guys can see everything, right? I'm going to do mobile menu button. So this will basically be our mobile menu. So here, what I'm going to do is just use icon tag saying class FAS FA bar. So that will give me a menu, right? So after all of that, what I'm going to do is next I need to make the nav links. So I'm going to make a div called nav links like that. And inside this, I'm going to make li. Actually, I need lists, so I can basically change that to ul like that. And next I can use href. So this will basically lead to our hero section. So I'm just going to do home. So that will be our hero section. I'm going to copy paste this bunch of times. So, oops. Here, what I'm going to do is put about us, just like that. I'm also going to change that to services, just like that. Let's do services. And next, what I need to do is change, let's say that's a blog section. So this will basically be blog section for our website. Also do contact section. So put contact here and also change that to contact. So that is all of our nav links, right? So after nav links, what I can do is make a contact information section, which will basically give out a phone number and have a search icon, right? Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this inside a contact info division or div, and I'm going to use a class saying I need a phone icon. So I'm just going to do FA phone. That will give me a phone icon, right? I need a label for this. So I have a dummy phone number with me here, so I'm just gonna copy that and paste that there. Next, I can just use icon tag again. So this will basically be a search icon. So I can just do FA search. That'll give me a search icon. And with that said, our header is complete, right? Quickly fix the indentation, but that is our header. So I'm going to quickly style this. So we need to style this. I'm just going to do that. The first thing we need to do is remove the default padding and margin. So I'm just going to do margin 0, selecting the universal selector. I'm going to do padding, set that to 0, and I'm going to use box sizing border box, which basically counts every single one of the padding and margin with the width of the content, right? Next is body. I'm just gonna quickly choose a font. So I usually like this font right here. Looks pretty clean. So I'm just gonna use that one. Next, I'm gonna set a default or universal line height. So I'm just gonna set the line height of the default line height to 1.6. Also put a color of our text by that. It's not perfect black, but it kind of has hint of white. So I'm gonna choose that. Next is background. So I'm going to choose a kind of a grayish background. It's not perfect white, but it has kind of a hint of gray, right? Next is header section. So I'm just going to quickly put a comment, select header tag, and change the background to white. Now what that does is basically separates the actual background, which is, again, it's not white, it kind of has a gray tint, and I'm going to set the header to white to basically have a separation, right? Next, I can set a padding to about 1.5 rem and 5%, just like that. I can stick a box shadow saying 0, 2 pixels, 10 pixels, and RGBA set to, I'm going to use the black RGBA color. So 000 is black RGB color. And I'm going to use the alpha value of 0.1. So it's not like perfect black, but yeah. Next, I can set the position to sticky. Now, I could do fixed, but sticky is kind of better because it actually doesn't overlap between the other HTML elements, right? I want to put the sticky on top 0, so it will basically act like position fixed, and put a z-index of 1000 to make sure it's always at the top. Now that is for the header container. So we have to style everything else in the navbar. So I'm just going to do nav, put display flex. Now we also have to flex this list right here, but we're going to do that in a bit. I'm going to do justify content space between, also do align item set to center, max width set to around 1400 pixels, also do margin 0 auto. So we'll basically make the navbar responsive because we'll basically auto resize the margin, right? Next is logo. So this thing right here. So for logo, I'm not going to go too hard. I'm just going to make them bold and have different colors for care and code and test, our quote unquote website name, right? So here I'm just going to do increase the font size by 1.5 rem. I'm going to do font weight set to bold, so that will be bold. Set the color to the same color that we have. We don't need to do that because we already done that here. But in case if we like accidentally change the body, it's safer to actually put color here, right? So next is span. So for span, we basically made a separate container for care. So I'm just gonna have a different color for the care. So this will have a kind of kind of blue color. So I'm just gonna do 489082. So this is a blue color. I don't know how to describe colors. Light blue? It's not light blue. I guess darkish blue. That's a good analogy. Next is display flex. I'm gonna basically make the links, which is a UL tag or list, right? I'm gonna make it flex so they can basically come into the main axis. And I'm just gonna do gap to rem. Now it has their stupid dots. So I need to like remove dots. So I can do list style none. That will get rid of that dots. Also do align items set to center in case they are not centered on the cross axis. Now next is actually styling the anchor tags, which is the, links. Now for links, what I can do is get rid of that text decoration or the underline. So I can basically remove that using text decoration set to none. Also have a color of grayish, so I can basically set that to a grayish color. Next is give a transition of all 0.3 seconds at ease. So what this does, I cannot speak, is basically adds transition to all different CSS properties in here. So with that, I can actually make a hover state here. So I can just do, since our signature color is the bluish color, I can basically change the color to that, right? I need a hash here. So this will basically change color when I hover over it. Now this is nothing new, right? So after that is the contact information section. So I can basically just do contact info and do display flex and do align item center. Also do gap about 1 rem. Yeah, that looks okay. Change the color to the same grayish black color. Also do font weight, make it a little bolder. And there we go. We should be fine after that, right? Next thing I can do is actually style this and just make it completely disappear, which is our hamburger menu. Now to do that, what I can do is see where this is at. So it's inside this. So I can basically select that and select the icon tag and make it a little bit bigger. So I can just do 1.5 rem. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And also kind of make it disappear because we don't need to do anything else anyway. So I can just do display, set that to none. So that will get rid of that, right? Now it kind of is responsive, but is not totally responsive. But that is fault of the actual thing not being responsive yet because we haven't done any media queries. Now, before we do that, we have to make other things. So next we have to make the hero section. So I'm just going to see where the thing is. Right over here. So I'm going to put a hero section comment here. And basically do section. I'm going to give a class of hero and do hero content, right? So inside the hero content, I'm going to give you like contents. I can just do, I have content right here. I'm just going to use that. Now I have another line. So instead of making another tag, I'm just going to use the BR tag. And since it's almost the same text, I can just do transform your smile and transform your life. So that is our tagline, right? Pretty cool tagline. If you like the tagline, hit that like button. Okay, in a sellout, I'm just gonna do my own thing now. So next is hero features. So all of the features that is inside the hero section. The first thing is the tags, right? I have a bunch of tags for the feature. So I'm gonna make a feature tag. I mean, it is feature, but it's not any interactive features. It's basically like information, right? Here what I can do is make a div called feature icon, right? I'm gonna make another span tag saying expert care, like that. Next, I can just basically copy paste this bunch of times to like duplicate that and basically change the text here. So I'm just gonna do pain free. I can just change that to about prevention. And that is pretty much it for our features, right? Next is hero description. I'm gonna use a paragraph tag saying hero description, and I have a description right here with me, so I'm just going to use that. So this is 2-line description. I'm going to use the br tag again because it's easier and don't have to like make multiple tags, right, just to break a statement. Next, what I can do is use next what I have to do is actually use images. So to do that, I'm going to wrap all of the images inside the containers. I'm going to use a div for client stats, and here I can just do client avatars like that. So these are basically the kind of a profile pictures for different things. I have a bunch of image tags here. I'm just going to use them. These are dummy avatars given by ChatGPT, so I'm just gonna use them because it's better to use random or like unsplashed images instead of just like googling someone and putting them in, you know. Next thing what I can do is basically put some text here. I'm just gonna put some text. I can use a strong, like these are some extra text what I can do. So let's say 9 out of 10, like that. I'm just seeing what I can type here. Do patience, put a BR, recommend this. So it's just basically dummy data. And there we go. So after all of that, we have most of the things ready for that. Next thing what we need is that's enough for the content side of the thing. So I'm gonna see where the indent ends right about here. So I'm gonna start a new section. So this will be a video section. So this will basically be a video, but it will be dummy video. It will actually not be a video. Now, if you want to like make sure it, if you want to be like, if you want this to be a video, I cannot speak, oh my god. If you want this to be a video, you can use a video tag, right? It's totally up to you, but right now I didn't find any videos, so I'm just gonna put a dummy image right as a video. So I can just do video container and just do image. Now I have the image right here with me, so I'm just gonna copy and paste that. Now like that, I had a bunch of image tags. So this also I have one image to put there, right? So that's pretty much it. So next, after the image tag, I'm gonna use a play button, again, a dummy play button. I'm gonna use play button, and here I can just do class FASFE play. So that'll give me a play button, if you guys can actually see in the bottom left corner there. So that is pretty much it for the video section. So next section we have is the stats section. So stats section is actually it's not a section, it's basically a part of the section, but it's basically a group of containers, right? A group of cards saying, like, displaying different information about the website. Basically statistical data on there. So I'm just gonna make the div first. Here there'll be individual item for the stat item, right? This is not a tag. What am I doing? So inside this, I can just do stat number, and let's say the number, I'm actually gonna copy paste first. I'm gonna do 15 years plus, also change that to label. So what is 15 years plus? We also need a label to give the information, right? So I have the information right here with me, so I'm just gonna use that. So this is years of excellence in dental care. So I'm just gonna use that, completely fine. Now either you can just copy paste this, or I have the thing right here. So I'm just gonna change the data here just like that. Either you can just, again, write from scratch, or if you're lazy like me, you can also copy paste, you know, it's easier that way. So I have a label for the second one right here with me. So I'm just gonna copy paste. Again, it's just a bunch of data, dummy data, which I basically put there. Right, I'm just gonna do 5,000 plus, and let's say I do happy smiles created. If you're scared of the dentist, guys, hit that like button. Because personally, I kind of am really scared with dentists. I really like kind of always I'm actually really scared while going to dentist. Okay, I still like I have dental problems like pretty often. I don't know why. I take care of my oral health pretty well, I think. I try, but yeah, I don't know. I might be wrong. So there's something there might be which I'm just doing wrong, but it's fine. So yeah, with that said, actually let's style the we have wrote all of this, but we haven't styled these hero sections. So let's quickly do that, right? So I'm gonna come where did I go? Okay. So here I'm gonna come to our style.css and start to style our hero section. So I'm just gonna do hero section, put a comment right here, call the hero class, and I'm going to do background set to white. Also do padding set to 4rem and 5%. Also do max width, again it was 1400 pixels, so I'm just gonna follow that. Also do margin set to 0 and auto. Right. Next thing I can do is style the content, so all of the textual data. Here what I can do is do text align, set that to center. Also do margin bottom set to 3 rem, just like that. Next is h1, all of this. So for h1, I can call it like that. Font size, increase that by really, so that's 3.5 rem. So that's about how much? So 1632.48. About like 50 plus pixels around, I guess. So make that really bold. Also put a margin bottom of 2 rem. Also do line height set to 1.2. Decrease that a little bit. I cannot speak. Decrease that a little bit. Oh my god. I'm stuttering a lot today because like my throat is not in its ideal condition, let's say. So do that. So text transform, set that to uppercase. That will change to uppercase, even though it's already in uppercase, let's be real. But in case, sometimes I accidentally don't put it. So if something needs to be uppercase, either you can go to change that with JavaScript, or you can just directly do it from CSS, right? Next is hero features. So features being all of this. So to style the features, I'm gonna put them at flex so they come at in the same line. Also justify content center to make sure they're in center. Do gap, set that to around 2 rem, and margin bottom, there is no space below it, so we'll do margin bottom 2 rem. Next is feature tag, which is the individual item in the features. So make that flex as well. The reason we do that is in case sometimes there can be some situations where it's not like aligned properly in its own container. So I'm gonna make sure it's inside that. Also do gap set to 0.5 rem. Also do padding. We need padding here, so we'll do 0.5 rem and 1 rem. Now you cannot see anything because of the background, because it's transparent. We'll set the background to kind of grayish color, just like that. We'll put a border radius of around 1.5 rem, just like that, and that is pretty much it. Next is feature icon. Do we have feature icon? Give me a second. We do. So we'll do feature. We'll change that to icon. We'll set the width to be around 8 pixels, height to also be around 8 pixels. We'll change the background to our signature blue color, just like that. We'll do border radius set to around 50% to make it a perfect circle. So it kind of looks nice as icons. It's like list, but in a cooler way, right? If you do it like that. Next is hero description, which is this text right here. I can basically change that or style that. We're not going to do anything too fancy here because already doesn't need that much styling. So since it's not that important, I'm just going to put that as gray and give a margin bottom because to make a space between, like, below it. Next is client stats, so which is all of these, right? All of these pictures. Now I'm just gonna make sure to style the container first, which is all of that. So I'm just gonna do justify content set to center, align items set to center as well, put a gap about 1 rem. Okay, next is client avatars. I'm gonna do display flex, also do margin left around -10 pixels. And there we go. That should be fine. I mean, you can also do margin right 10 pixels. That's the same thing, right? It's the same thing. Now, next is images. So we haven't styled the images. I'm gonna go here and do img. Now select the images. I'm gonna do width, set that to around 40 pixels. Also do height, set that to around 40 pixels. Border radius, set that to 50%, and border, set that to 3 pixels. Solid white, and do margin right 10 pixels, just like that. And there we go. Now next is this video section we have. Now it's basically just destroying the whole entire website because this picture right here is really high resolution. So we need to fix that. So we'll do video and we'll do video section. We'll set the position to relative, right? And we'll do margin to set that to 2 rem and 0. Now that is video section. That is the actual section. So if we go here, right? If I do that, so there's a section right there. So we can basically change that to video container, right? Oh, there we go. So we can basically make it do position relative again. We'll do border radius set to 15 pixels. Now I'm gonna do overflow hidden. So that'll basically fix the overflowing, right? And also I can just do box shadow set to 0, 10 pixels, 40 pixels, and set that to that. There we go. Next is actual styling the image. So I can select the image just like that. We'll set the width to about 100%. And also do height, set that to 500 pixels. We'll do object fit set to cover because it's kind of stretched, right? Now 60 stretched. Now next, styling the play button. Now since we have the container and it is basically stranded in the bottom left corner of the actual container, I'm going to do position absolute. That's why we basically made all of these relative. Now this will basically be positioned relative, like position absolute relative to the video container. So since it's right somewhere around here, I can do top 50%. It will come top from 50% right there. So it'll be the center from top. And next I can just do left 50%, make it in the middle. So sometimes it doesn't get in the middle. So we can, to fix that, we can do transform translate. Where is it? There we go. So we'll do 50% and set to 50%. So it will always be at the center with that. So if I just come down here and set the width of that, increase that by 50, like not 50, about 80. Also do the height, set that to 80. So that's for the container, right? I can do background, set that to RGBA. So I'm going to use the RGBA color code of white. And just going to set the alpha value to 1, like that. And we'll basically make that a perfect circle, like that. We'll do display flex and line item set to center, justify content set to center. Just like that. I need to increase the font size a little bit, so we can do that by font size 1.5 rem. Also do cursor set to pointer, and also do transition transform 0.3 seconds at ease. So that is for the play button. So I can make a hover effect for that. I can just do hover. We'll do transform translate to negative 50 pixels and 50%, and do scale that by 1.1. So if I do that, either we can do that, or actually, wait, what? There you go. So we can just have that effect right there, right? Looks pretty nice. You can either do that, you don't need specifically that, but if you don't put it, it will not be at the center, because reason behind that is basically it's not relative into there, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it. Next, we have all of the stats. So I'm just gonna do stats. So I can just do that. We'll do display flex and justify content center. Also do gap set to 5 rem. Also do margin set to 4 rem and 0. There we go. Next we have stat item. So I'm just gonna do stat item, do text line set to center. Next is stat number. Do font size set to the 3.5 rem. Okay. Also do font weight. Since we increased the font size, now it doesn't suit it because it's not bold enough. So I can increase the bold by a lot, just like that. And also set the color to our signature text color. Next is stat label. Label, again, meaning the all of this, right? So I can basically do I'm just gonna set it to be normal and decrease the font size by 0.9 rem. So basically, like, decrease it by 0.1 rem, because by default it's 1 rem, right? And that should be okay for the heroes section, right? Everything is looking nice and it's coming together. Now we don't have the right sidebar yet, right? We will make it once we are done with the main web page now. So after all of that, we can start our services section. So this will basically be a section which describes what kind of services we have, right? So it's a bunch of it's a section with bunch of services card aligned in a grid format. So I'm just gonna do services section and comment that out, give a comment right there. And I can just do section, put a section with a class of services. I can do section header and basically put a section label saying services. I can just do that. Just do services, just like that. That should be fine. Next, I can just copy paste this. So this will be our title. I can just do our dental services. So after the header, we can basically start focusing on our grid. So we'll make a container to store everything in the grid. So this will be a service grid container. I'm going to make a first card here. So we'll do services, or not, service grid, service card. That will make more sense. I'm going to style this by default. I'm going to change the background I'll change the background color to E8 F7 F0, right? And basically just continue styling. So next, what I can do inside the actual container, I can basically put, you guys cannot see properly, so I'm just gonna increase that a little bit. We'll do service icon. We'll do, I'm gonna use the icon here and do FAS FA tooth. So this will give me a tooth icon, right? After that, we can use a tree saying preventive dentistry, just like that. Next, we have a p paragraph tag with a paragraph. So I'm just gonna copy that, paste that there. Next, we have an anchor tag that leads to nowhere. Have a class of learn more. Right now, we can basically put a learn more content with a class with the icon of arrow right. So I can do FAS FA arrow right. So that'll give me a right arrow. So that will be it for one card, right? Next, what I can do is I have a bunch of cards with the same HTML content with different colors. So I'm just gonna copy paste that to save your guys' time and my time, right? The only different part about this, it has the same HTML structure. Don't get me wrong, right? This is the grid. It has the same HTML structure with a different color, and some have their own background as the like a image as the background and different colors. That's pretty much it, right? It's not too complicated. Again, if you want the source code, it will be linked down in the description box below. The only thing that is different here is some have linear gradient, right, and URL as their background, right, and they have different class just like that, right, and they have different, basically they have different color, and some have background as image as their background. So this is not anything complicated. They have the same HTML structure, so you can do whatever you want with them. Again, if you want to see the source code, it will be linked down in the description box below. So moving on to the styling the actual container, what I can do here is call the services first. I was kind of forgetting where we were. We'll do padding. We'll set that to 4em and 5% as usual. We'll do max width set to 1400 pixels. Margin set to 0 auto. Okay. Next is section header. We'll do section header. We'll do text align. We'll set that to left because we can basically give a starting point instead of having all of them set to center. You don't have to personally do this. It is the same thing. I can remove that actually. I'm just going to remove that. And the margin bottom set to 1 rem. There we go. Next thing what I can do is put our style the label, right? I can just do section label and do color, set that to gray right there, and do font size, set that to 0.9 rem, and do margin bottom set to 0.5 rem. Right. Next is section title. I'm just going to do section title. We'll do font size set to 2.5 rem. Also do font weight set to 800. Also do margin bottom set to 3 rem. There we go. That is for our title. Next, to style the grid. So next is I can just do service grid and do display, set that to grid. We'll do grid template columns. We'll do repeat auto fit and do min max, set to minimum value to be 280 pixels per fraction. So this will basically auto fit all of the elements. If I just slowly decrease it, it will auto fit it to whatever it's, it fits. So minimum it can go is 280 pixels. It will not decrease after that, right? So when it hits that 280 pixel threshold, it will basically go down and it will just auto fit according to that, right? And the minimum in one column, so that's one fraction, right? That is pretty much it. Next is gap. I can set the gap to be around 2 rem. And yeah, that should be okay for the containers. Next for the card, we can do service card. We'll set the background to white. Like that. We'll do border radius set to around 15 pixels. Also give a padding. Actually, it doesn't look nice. There we go. We can also give a box shadow. And we can give a box shadow of 0, 5 pixels, 20 pixels. And set a RGBA value to the black color code. And also do 0.8. 0.08. Yeah, that looks nice. Next, I can give a transition of transform 0.3 seconds at ease. Now, this is for one transition. Either you can just use all, or you can basically select the specific CSS properties. So that is for transform. I can give another by just separating them by comma. So next I want to do is put transition for box shadow. I can give comma and type box shadow 0.3 seconds at ease. And there we go. Next is for service card hover. So this is the hover state. We'll basically do transform, translate at Y actually. And we'll translate by -5. So when you hover over it, it will translate 5 pixels upwards. And do box shadow, do 0, 10 pixels, 30 pixels, and do RGBA, set the values to be around this much. So we'll change the box shadow or kind of increase it when you hover over it. So it'll give a subtle a shadow effect. It looks pretty okay. So after all of that, one thing I forgot to mention is I have a highlighted effect, right? So in specific service card, I gave a extra highlight class. So what I can do is basically style that separately. I can do service and I can just do highlight. So this card right here, the one with actual background, so this one right here, this has an extra class that is highlight to give a separate styling for it. So to do that, I can just give background, since this has a background as an image, like image as a background, oh my god, we can basically need to style that. So you can give background size at cover. It'll cover entire picture inside the actual background. Next, I can do background position. So I can basically give a center to make sure it's pointing to the center of the image. Also do color set to white, like that. Also do min height set to around 400 pixels. Just like that. Also do display set to flex direction set to column, right? And do justify content flex end. Just like that. Looks nice and okay. The next is service icon. So if I just do cut that and icon. Now service icon is the, where is it? Service icon is the tooth image and all the other stuff. So all of these image right here. So the first one was tooth, next is heartbeat, and next is like security. Right? So to fix that, I can just do, that's not a security icon, that's a care icon, right? Yep. I can just do width, set that to 50 pixels, height, increase that, right? I kind of increase that. Also do background. By the way, I'm increasing the container size, not the image size. Image is just a icon tag. Somebody's calling me, guys. Give me a second. So here, what I'm going to do is for background. I'm back, by the way. Okay. So for background, I'm going to do E8 F4 FF. So this is, again, kind of a grayish background for that, right? And also, I do border radius set to 10 pixels. And do display flex, display content center. Also do align item center, just like that. And at last, put a margin bottom of 1 rem. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So next is actual styling the actual icon. So I want to increase the font size by a lot. That is, so that is 1.5 rem. Next, I'm going to change the color to our signature blue. There we go. Right. Now next is text. So I'm just going to do service card. I'm going to do H3. That is the header. I'm going to do font size. Set that. My F key is not working. Okay, my F key suddenly stopped working. Give me a second, guys. Okay, I'm replugging. Okay, technical problems. Why is it? Okay, there we go. It's working. It's working. It's working. It's working. We'll do font size set to 1.3 rem. Also do margin bottom set to 0.5 rem. So that should be it. So next is paragraph tag. So we'll do P and just to set the color to gray. Do font size 0.9 rem. Decrease it by a little bit. Also do display inline flex, right? And do align items set to center. We'll do gap 0.5 rem. At last, we don't need these two. Do we need that? No, okay, so we'll just wait. I'm just gonna do margin bottom set to 1 rem. And that's pretty much it. So only thing that we need in inline flex is actually this. I misread it for another thing. Okay. Next is learn more. So we'll do learn more. We'll set the color to that. We'll do display inline flex. And we'll also do align items set to center and do gap 0.5 rem. Also do font weight set to 600 and also do text decoration. Is it underlined, right? Okay, we'll do text decoration set to none. There we go. Now we have to make a hover effect for this. So we'll just do hover. We'll set the gap to 1 rem and we'll do transition. We'll put a transition here. So we'll do transition gap 0.3 seconds at the. So we are basically just putting here. So we'll do that. So this kind of reverse transition you can put there. Looks pretty nice. So that is pretty much it, right? So that is almost everything here, at least for now. Now we can actually start making our sidebar as you saw in the intro. So what you can do here is we can cut this. We can come down here. So after this section we have here, we can basically start working on our sidebar. I'm going to quickly fix my indent here, just like that. There we go. So since we have the main content here, so we can basically put that right over here. So for the right sidebar, we can basically just put it here. Give me a second. So we have this. Okay, here. So we'll do sidebar. We can basically make a side. We can use a side tag because side tag is usually used for sidebars and side text. So you can use a side here. So we'll do sidebar. We'll do sidebar hero. Oops, misspelled it. And we'll do section label. We'll do about us. Now this is already styled, so we don't have to style that. I'm going to add an additional style since the color of that is #666. I want it a little bit darker gray, so we'll do 999, right? Okay, never mind. We'll have to do color 999. Okay. So after all of that, we can just put an h2 here. So I have an h2 tag with me right here, which I'm just gonna yoink it up there. Next is a paragraph tag. Now I have a long paragraph with me. I'm just gonna copy the content of that and paste it right here. So that is the tag that we have here. So that is sidebar hero. So next thing we need is the image for the sidebar hero, right? So we'll do hero image, wrap that inside that. We need image, so we'll use the image tag. Here I'm just gonna copy the link of the image. So that is a dentist image. Next I can just do hero stats. We'll do stat badge. So this will basically be all of these stats we can show in our sidebar, like one of these, right? As a separate, but on the sidebar. So for that, what I can do is I can either just copy paste the same thing or just change it slightly. So I'm just gonna do strong 40 plus, so that is years of experience. Where is the plus? There we go. Not years of experience. I will just put this, what do I put it? Expert dentist. There we go. And after that, I can just copy, paste. That didn't make sense, but yeah, you get it. We'll change that to 15, so we'll change that to supposedly be years of experience. Just like that. Also do 5,000 happy patients. We'll put that there. So after the hero image, where does this end? Right here. So we'll make a button. So we'll just do, we'll make a button tag with a CTA button as a class. And we'll just do discover our story. And we'll do icon tag and do class FAS FA arrow, set that to right. That is a button. Right, after all of that, we need to style this, so we'll just quickly do that. So we'll come to our style.css and start styling it. So we'll put in actual comment thing sidebar, and we'll do sidebar. We'll put it to position fixed. The reason we do that is we want it to be fixed on the left-hand side of our screen. So we can use position fixed. We'll do right 0, and we'll do top 0. Right? That'll be around here. I can just give a width. So where is it? So it's around here. Next I can just do is give a width of 450 pixels. Also give a height of 100 bh. Just like that. Boom. So it's on the right side now. We can give a background and give a background of 1A, 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 kind of a blackish background. Also give color of white, overflow white to auto. We can also do box shadow set to -5 pixels, 0, 20 pixels, and set the RGBA value to around that much. Adds a box shadow. So next is the sidebar hero. So that was for the container, right? We can just do sidebar hero. We'll set the padding to 3 rem and 2 rem. Also give a background of linear gradient. We'll give a 135 degrees. We'll do a blackish background that will set that to 100%. Let's also give the same color we have here. We'll give it to 100%. There we go. That will be our linear gradient. Next thing what I can do is style the H2 now. So that is all of these texts right here. I can just give sidebar hero H2. We'll do font size. Okay. Font size set to 2 rem. Also do margin bottom set to 1 rem. And next I can just do font size 0.9 rem. If I just full screen it, it kind of looks great. Now we cannot, it is not scrollable because like we have set it to auto. So if you see here, I have set the overflow Y to auto. It's not overflowing, so that's why it's not scrollable yet, right? So yeah, so we can just put that there for now. Next thing is the image. So I can just do hero image. We can just do position set to relative. Also do margin set to 2 rem 0. Do hero stats and do position set to absolute. Right set to 1 rem. Top set to 1 rem. Do display flex direction, column, and we'll do gap set to 1 rem. There we go. So that is for the container. Next, style the actual badge width. So we'll just do badge. We'll set the background to be around that right there. I'm gonna give a little less, make it a little visible, and we'll change the padding to be around 1 rem. Border radius set to 10 pixels. Text align set to center, and min width set to 100 pixels. We'll do stat badge strong. So that is the percentage, right? It's not percentage, the actual text. So we'll do display block. So it's on 2 sides instead of 1. I need to change the color quick because I can't see anything. There we go. We'll increase the font size by that much. And there we go. So next is button, right? No, actually we need to style the span tag too. So we'll just do font size. We'll decrease the font size by 0.8 rem. Also do color. Set it to that, so it's actually visible. There we go. The next is button. So we'll do CTA. We'll do CTA button, set the background to white. Also do color. We'll set that to that. Also do padding set to 0.8 rem and 2 rem. Also do border none. We'll do border radius 8 pixels. Font weight 600. Set the cursor to pointer. So there we go. And we'll do display inline flex and do align items set to center. I'll set the gap to 0.5 rem. And that is it for that, right? So I don't think we need anything else. So yeah. Next thing what we can do is style all of these. One thing I want to change is this text, like this text right here, this title. is not big enough, I think. So I can just probably change that too. And also I need to style the image. I think I forgot about that. So here it is, I think, sidebar hero. So we'll do sidebar hero h2. We'll basically just cut that. And we'll do font size set to 2 rem. Also do margin bottom set to 1 rem. Also do line height set to 1.3. Now we'll fix it once later. We'll basically make this sidebar like on the side, don't worry. So right now it kind of looks ugly, but don't worry, we'll fix it later, don't worry. We'll do P. So next is paragraph tags. So again, I'm gonna have a grayish color. And do margin bottom 1.5 rem. Also do font size, decrease the font size a little bit. There we go. So next, I actually forgot to style the image, so I'm just going to quickly do that. This will not be anything. We'll just do width 100% and give a border radius of 1 rem. And that is pretty much it. Right? So after all of that, we need another section here. So we'll just go here. And inside the side, we'll make another section. So this was for sidebar hero, right? This was for sidebar hero. We'll basically make a testimonial section. So testimonial section will be a bunch of information about patients, some text, and doctor recommendation. And yeah, it also has the doctor reviews, and we'll also make a carousel slider kind of. So yeah, we'll just do that. So I'm just gonna push it onto the side. We don't care about what is behind that anyways for now. Here, what I'm gonna do is make our class. So we'll just do dot testimonials. Testimonial, we'll do h3 what our patients say. So this is kind of a review section we can put here. Also do color. We'll use a paragraph tag. Now we'll put an inline CSS because it doesn't have that much CSS. We'll just make it gray. Also put a font size of 0.85 rem. I'm sorry guys, I'm stuttering a lot. I don't know why I'm doing this, but my throat is not in a good condition for today. Let me just quickly drink water. Stay hydrated, guys. I have a sore throat. So after that paragraph tag, we'll just do testimonial text, not test, text. And again, I have a paragraph with me right here. It's really long. So yeah, this is really long. Next thing we have is the author, which is basically our images. So here what I'm going to do is put a image, right? So this is our image of author. Again, this is a picture of a person. Next, we'll put the author info, right? We'll do author info. We'll do h4. Let's say that's Julian. I know it doesn't make sense, but yeah, we can just put that to Sean, I guess. It's fine. I should put that the same. Also do paragraph, and here I have a dentistry a month ago. So this is basically the, time duration. Next is the rating. So for rating, what I'm going to do is make a div called rating. I'm going to have stars, right? So for star, we can use the icon tags. So this will give me a star. So since normally is 5 stars, so I'm just going to copy it 5 times. And there we go. So that is pretty much it for that. Next thing we have is a testimonial navbar, which basically has left arrow and right arrow. When you click on them, this will basically switch between the person. Now, to make that, what I can do is come out of the author first. So we'll do author, no, author, testimonial author. There we go. I'm gonna make a testimonial nav saying that. And we'll basically just do nav arrows. And inside this, make nav arrow. And inside that, I'm gonna give a icon tag with a class of FAS FA arrow left. Copy paste that. This will be a right. And there we go. So after doing all of that, I can make another saying, so this will be our increment and decrement. So how many testimonials we have. So let's say we have 5 testimonials to show on our sidebar. So we can just do that. We'll do style and we'll change the color, text color to gray. Right? And let's say that says 3 out of 5. So that is our thing. Right? And yeah, that is pretty much it for the testimonial section. So let's quickly style this. So we'll come to our style.css. We'll give a comment saying testimonial. Right? And here I can just do testimonial and we'll do background, set that to white. Okay, I misspelled it apparently. There we go. And we'll do padding, set to 3 rem and 2 rem. And also give margin of 2 rem. Also give border radius set to 15 pixels. So after all of that, we'll style the text. So we'll do testimonial h3. We'll set the color to be our signature text color. And also do line height set to 1.8. Margin bottom will set to about 2 rem. Next we have on the list is the author. So we'll do testimonial author. We'll do display flex. We'll do align items set to center. We'll scroll down again. And we'll do gap set to 1 rem. The next thing we have is our image. We'll do width set to 60 pixels, height set to 60 pixels again, and we'll do border radius around 50%. So that is our profile picture of the person. So the next thing we have is the header, which is h4, right? But if we come down here and around here, so this is the name of the person. So we'll do h4. We'll do author, actually. We'll do author dash info h4. We'll change the color to our signature color. And we'll do margin bottom set to 0.9 rem. Okay. The next thing we can do here is the paragraph. So we'll do author info, change to paragraph, and we'll change that to about this, right? And also do font size, decrease the font size a little bit. There we go. Now next is rating. We'll do rating and we'll change the color to white. So we'll do that. So that's yellow. And we'll do margin top. We'll do 0.5 rem. There we go. Right. Now next is testimonial text. So we forgot to style that. So to do that, I can just do that, do text and change the color to about that. There we go. And do line height set to 1.8. We'll do margin bottom set to 2rem. And that is pretty much it for the testimonial. So next thing we have is the navbar. So we'll come down here and we'll do testimonial nav. Do display flex, justify content, space between. Scroll down because you guys cannot see. And also do align item set to center and do margin top about 2rem. So we have all of this, but you guys cannot actually see the navbar. So to fix that, either I can put a inline CSS there, or I can actually do that. Okay, we'll do what we need to do. So we'll do nav arrow, so that is all of the arrow. We'll do display flex, gap set to 1rem. Also do color, set that to black for now. Right. Next, we'll just do navbar arrows, not arrow. Here, I'll just do nav arrow. So we're actually selecting individual arrow now, and we'll do width set to 40 pixels, height set to 40 pixels as well, border 1 pixel, solid gray, and also make that a perfect circle. So we'll do border radius 50%, do display flex, align item center, justify content, we'll do center, cursor set to pointer, and do transition all 0.3 seconds at ease. There we go. So at hover, what I can do, if I have that, we'll hover, we'll change the background to our signature blue color, and we'll change the color to white. We'll change the border color to our signature to that. So there we go. It looks pretty nice. And yeah, that is pretty much it for the testimonials section. Till now, it looks pretty old, right? Now we still have to fix this, like it is overlapping. So we can fix that later. For now, we'll just style everything else, and yeah, we'll make it responsive and fix that at once. That is for testimonials. Next thing we have on the list is a form. So if you saw in the beginning, we had a form. So we have to make that form. So to make that, what I'm going to do is make a div with appointment. What's the spelling of appointment again? Appointment, right? Appointment form. So inside this, we have a section label. So we'll do label. We'll name that book appointment. Just like that. There we go. It's right around there. Next thing what we can do is give it a style, saying style color 999. Like that. If I come here back, right? And that's fine. So if we go again here. So next is H3, we'll just do schedule your visit, and we'll just do today. Put a random text here as an H3. Next is paragraphs. I'm just going to copy the text I have here. Like that. Next thing we need is a form. So we'll finally build a form here. So after the paragraph tag, we need to build a form. So we'll use the form tag. We'll cut accent. We don't need that. And I'm going to use a form row as a div to basically, if a form input is side to side, I'm going to wrap that into a form row division and just going to flex that. So here I'm just going to do form group create a subgroup here. We'll do input, not img, input. Scroll down and do name. I can cut that, make a placeholder saying full name, make it required. Next thing what we can do is actually copy this. So this will be our mobile number. So either you can just go ahead and make it mobile or phone, right? Like that. And we can give a placeholder for mobile. Just like that. And it is also required. So this is one form row, right? Now we need to make another form row. So we'll do form row. The reason I am, okay, not that. The reason I didn't copy paste is this form row is different. And we'll just wrap another form group. And we'll use a input. This will be a date. It will have a placeholder of appointment date. And this is also, we'll put that as required. There we go. Now we can just, again, copy paste that. We can cut immediately. So this will be a drop down. So we'll do select. We can use the select tag. I don't need any of these. Change that to required. And now we'll put the options. The topmost option, again, will be a label. So we'll just do appointment time. So I can just copy paste. Let's say this is 9:30 a.m. All right. So this will basically be a bunch of time. So I have already made it pre-made. So I'm just gonna copy paste this bunch of time. So that is 10 a.m., 11, 2, 3, 4 for the drop down, right? All of that. So after all of that, I did that form row is done. Move on to another. So this is, I think, our third. So this form row is pretty simple. This is basically a text area for giving larger reviews or larger conditions. We'll do placeholder, tell us about your dental concerns, just like that. And there we go. So this will be optional. Then I don't need to put a different thing, right? Actually, I can basically do form group since this is not a form row technically, right? And next thing what I can do is make a contact info item. So this will be our FASFA phone. So this will basically give the phone number of the doctor. So I'm going to use a span. I have a dummy phone number right here with me. So I'm just going to copy and paste that. Right like that. The next contact item in the list we have is the email. So this one is phone number. This one will be email. So for email icon, I can use an envelope and put the email. So we'll just do code in test at gmail.com. Every time I say that, I kind of laugh. And that is our all of the form. Next, we need a submit button. So we'll just do button, submit button. We'll also give it a type of submit. So this will basically emit event of submit so we can catch it. So we'll just do schedule appointment. And there we go. So that was all of our form. Right? That is all of our form. We'll go to our CSS and style our appointment. So here for that, what I can do is do appointment form. And we'll change the background to what we have here. So we'll choose this one, why not, right? We'll do padding 3 rem and 2 rem. Also do margin 2 rem and border radius 1 rem. So I'm just basically copying this for the container to make it identical. And we will style the h3 now, so which is the header. We'll change the color to that. Also give 1 rem margin bottom and font size, increase that a little bit. Next thing we have here is the paragraph tag. So we'll change the color to a grayish color. We'll do margin bottom, set that to 2 rem. Font size 0.9 rem. There we go. Next is form row. So we'll make it a grid because it's easier that way. We'll just separate that by 2 columns. Using template columns, we'll put a gap of 1 rem and margin bottom of 1 rem. There we go. Right. So here what I'm doing is it's kind of overflowing. So for that, we can first actually style the group. We'll do group. We'll not do anything, just put 1 rem gap there. Now we can actually start styling all of that. So we'll do form group. We'll choose input. We'll also choose text area. And we'll also choose the select. I'm gonna format document. Right. Format document. We'll do width 100%, set a padding of 0.8 rem, and do border 1 pixel solid gray, and we'll put a border radius of 0.5 rem. Also do font size 0.9 rem. There we go. And next thing we have is text area. So we can have a separate styling for text area, that is resize, since it can literally destroy our responsiveness here just by that, right? When do resize vertical, so that will not let me resize it by horizontally. It will only let me resize it vertically, so that is good. Next, I can set a minimum height for that, so that, let's say that's 100 pixels. There we go. So after that is the contact item. So we'll do contact info item, put that display flex, align item set to center, and change the color to gray first because you guys are gonna see that. Right? And also do margin bottom set to 0.5 rem and set a gap of 0.5 rem and font size set to 0.9 rem. There we go. So after that, the last thing we need is the schedule appointment button. So that's styling for that. Next, I can just do submit button. We'll do 100%. We'll change the background to our signature black color. Set the color to white. Set a padding of 1 rem. We will remove the border. We'll add border radius. We'll make it a little bolder. And what else? We're gonna also put cursor pointer, margin top about 1 rem, and we can add a transition of all 0.3 seconds at ease. Now next for the hover, we'll change the background to our signature blue. There we go. Works flawlessly. It's also scrollable now, so that's good. And yeah, that is it for this section right here, which was the appointment form. So next and the last thing we have on our list is the footer. So this will be a footer on the sidebar, right? For until now, it looks pretty alright, and actually it looks pretty nice. And yeah, so next thing what we can do. Okay, let me drink some water. Give me a second, guys. Let's start by creating our footer. So what I'm gonna do is after here, I'm gonna do div. You can also do footer like this. Also gonna give a class of footer. Here what I'm gonna do is actually do I'm gonna make a div, right? After that, I'm gonna give a class, immediately style this, because there isn't that much in this, so I'm just gonna do display flex, align items center, justify content center, and margin bottom to ref. So that is pretty much it for the container. So I'm just gonna give inline CSS here. Inside this, what I'm gonna do is make a logo. So it will be a logo. Let's say that is coding, and here I'm just gonna do make another span with test, right? I'm doing whatever I did here, right? I'm separating the actual words. I'm gonna give a inline CSS saying color. I'm gonna put this, make it this very simple. It doesn't have that much anyways, and I'm also gonna change these. But here I'm gonna do our inline CSS. So I'm gonna put our signature blue color, and there we go, right? So after all of this, what I'm gonna do is make a social links, and I'm gonna put our anchor tags. I'm also gonna do FABFA, put Facebook, and here I'm just gonna copy paste. So here I'm just gonna change the name of the icon, so that will give me an Instagram logo. Third, I can do LinkedIn or Twitter, I guess. Let's do LinkedIn. This will seem more professional, you know. So after all of that, what I can do is I can finish this out, right? So next is footer content. What I'm gonna do is make a div called footer content. Inside this, I'm gonna make a footer section. Inside that, I'm gonna give a header to that. So let's say that's menu, like that. Also gonna give a UL tag. I'm gonna give list. So this will be list of links. Basically, this will be the same as this. However, it will be on the footer, right? So I'm gonna do anchor tags here. So I'm just gonna change it to home. So I can just copy paste a bunch of times. Second one will be about section. If I remember correctly, I put about, right? Okay, that's good. I'm just gonna do about us here. Also gonna do services. Put services here. Gonna do, what did I do here? I'm gonna probably put nowhere. I don't think we have services section. We do, but yeah, services. And last, I'm just gonna do contact, put that to contact. So that is our this footer section. So after this, what I'm gonna do is copy this and paste this again, right? Paste this again. So this will be for services. So I can just copy that. So I'm just gonna change that to preventive. Add that there. What I can do here, instead of doing like changing to manually, you can just do cosmetic and just copy paste this bunch of time. Let's say that's periodical. periodontal, not periodical. Okay. Emergencies. I can just do that. So that is for that footer section. Right after this, I can again copy paste this one more time. So let's say this is for about us. I'm going to do our doctors. Change that to our services. Change that to blogs. I don't need that one, so I'm just going to cut that. So after that, I have one last first section remaining, so I can just copy and paste that there. So this will be about and kind of info. So I'm just going to do info here. So there will be a small list. This will be about, again, about us. I don't need to put about us more. When do FAQs and put contact us here. Gonna cut that and end our UL tag here. After UL tag, I'm gonna put AH4 saying join our newsletter. So this will be an input field where you can fill out email. I'm just gonna do style, margin top set to 2rem. Small inline CSS here. Right now it looks really terrible. We'll fix it, don't worry. And I'm just gonna do newsletter here. Inside this, I'm gonna put an input field with email and cut that to placeholder and set that to email address. Right. Next is button. I'm gonna have a arrow right button, so I'm just gonna do FA arrow dash right. That will give me a right icon, if you can see right there. And that's pretty much it for this footer section. I think that's pretty much it for footer content, right? So after the footer content, we have one last thing, and that is our terms and condition and our copyrights thing. So I'm just going to do footer bottom. I'm going to put a paragraph with copyright logo. So to get copyright logo, I can do ampersand copy. That will give me a copyright logo, just like that. And I can just do co-din-tist, right? And write all rights reserved. So after that, we should be done. At last, put a footer links. Do href here, and inside this, I'm going to do terms and conditions. Put a small styling tag saying color, that, and text decoration set to none. Copy paste. It's the same thing. Change the content to something else saying partner agreement. So with that, we have finished our HTML. So that is pretty much it for HTML. The only thing we need to do now is CSS and JavaScript. So let's move on to footer. I'm just gonna quickly put a comment here and just do footer. And here put a background. So I'm gonna choose this background right here. Put a padding to about 3 rem and 2 rem. Right? And just do margin set to 2 rem. Also do border radius 1 rem. So that is our footer. Now for footer content, what I'm going to do is do display grid. Since this is easier that way, I'm going to do grid template columns, repeat 4 per fraction, just like that. And going to do gap 2 rem. Also do margin bottom set to 2 rem. Right, also do footer section h4, set the color to that. Also do margin bottom to 1 rem. Next is footer section ul. Do list style type none. That'll get rid of the listing, right? That comes by default. What I can do next is actually I need to style the list. So I can just get that by doing ULLI. That'll select all of the list tag inside the UL tag of the footer section, which we have a bunch of them. We'll do margin bottom 5 rem. Next, we need to select all of the anchor tags. So anchor tags are inside the li tags. I need to do anchor tag here. We can change the color to gray, set the text decoration to none to remove all of the underline. Also decrease the font size by a little bit. Now I need to put a hover effect for this, such as I can do hover and put color to our signature color. So if I go full screen here, it's still not that responsive. Now we'll make it responsive just in a bit. You don't have to worry about that, but yeah, give me a second. Next thing is the newsletter, right? Right now it doesn't look like okay, but to do that, what I can do is do newsletter, do display, set that to flex, and do gap 0.5 rem. And there we go. One thing I realized is I think I messed up the input field here. So if I see here, if I push that to the side, we have this footer section and we have this div, right? So where did I mess up? To fix this issue, what I can do is come down here. Instead of doing for fraction, I can just do autofit and do min max. And here I can basically just do, let's say, 100 pixels. I'm gonna eyeball this actually. Do that. So this is actually coming in outside the whole thing. So you can probably put that around here. See if it works. I'm gonna put another div and put that there. It's kind of working. The footer section, I'm gonna give it a class of footer section. There we go. Where is it? Okay, it's kind of works. So let's try and do that. So after doing that, we have our newsletter, right? And we have a couple of different things we can style about that. Next is input field. You can do flex, set that to 1, and do padding, set to 0.8 rem, and do border 1 pixel solid. Do that, and what I can do is do border radius 0.5 rem. So that is our input field. Next we can do is style our button. We'll set the background to be that, set the color to be white. We'll give padding of 0.8 rem and 1.5 rem. It will auto adjust because we have flex 1. And we'll set the border to none. We'll add border radius of 8 pixels. We'll set the cursor to pointer. So that is our all of that, right? Now, one thing I again forgot to style is supposedly is the all of the icons. So let's quickly just do that actually. One thing else check is why isn't it putting all of that? So we'll do social length. Okay, let's style the social links then. We'll do social links and we'll do display flex gap, set that to 1 rem, and we'll do margin top, set that to 1 rem, like that. One thing I forgot is supposedly it was supposed to be 1 in here. So if I just do that, missing guys, let me just quickly check here. So that is inside that, right? I put everything at the center. So this was supposed to be justify content space between. There we go. And if I just do that, right? And do a here and put color to be around that. And also do font size, increase the font size by a little bit. I can actually put that display flex. We can do align item set to center. And I think it should be fine. We can actually remove this so it looks kind of neat. And that is pretty much it for this, right? Next thing what we can do is put the footer bottom, which is all of this text, right? So for footer bottom, what I'm going to do is do display flex, justify content space between, also do padding top to rem, and border top 1 pixel solid. That, and also change the color to gray. And we'll do font size, set that to 0.9 rem. Just like that. We can do flex direction set to column. We'll see how it looks. Yeah, this looks kind of better in my opinion. And instead of doing space between, I can just do center. We'll also do text align, set to center. Yeah, there we go. Now for footer links, we have footer links, right? All of these. So we have terms and conditions. So we'll do copy that. We'll do footer links, do display flex, gaps set to 2rem. So that is our footer links. So I'm gonna add a small effect here saying footer link transition all 0.3 seconds at ease. When you hover over it, we'll change the color to our signature blue. Doesn't seem like it's working because I haven't put them in the links. If I just copy paste that, change that to there, we'll put a transition here. And now still doesn't work. Okay. Footer links it should work though. Okay, give me a second. I'm checking if I missed up something. I don't think I did. I can cut that. Don't need that. If I do color so that red, does it work? No, so that means it's not selecting it. Which is very weird since this is literally the thing, right? Yeah. Think about this. I can give a class to, let's say, footer links items, something like that. If I do items, now does it work? No, it doesn't. Now it does. Probably because I have given a color here. So what I'm gonna do is cut this color property. and put the color straight from here. Okay, that works. So if that works, this should work as well. Footer links A. Okay, that doesn't seem to be working. You know what? Okay, that's because I have this, right? Okay, so now I can just put the color to what it was, and now it should work. Now it's instant. I'm gonna add a transition right like that. Okay, nice. Okay, next is the main content layout. Right now, it is kind of right now this is overlapped. You see this? This is overlapped. We have to fix that overlap. We said that we would fix it, right? How would we fix it? We'll just basically put the main content. We'll just put a gap of margin right. We'll set that to about 450 pixels. This will basically change that. Reason why I did that is you can also use calc here if you want to actually use it. But what I basically did was subtract the subtract the length or width, not length, width of this to if I just do sidebar here, the width of this is 450 pixels. I basically subtracted that from the margin. So kind of put a margin right of that. So it is separated neatly now. So after that, I can also put the same content here, but it's fine. Next, what I can do is style our hamburger menu. So instead of doing that, I'm not gonna, totally change or whatever. I'm just going to put the hamburger menu, right? We have mobile menu button. If I go down, come to here, and we'll see if this works. So if I go to our bar, so this is the mobile menu button, right? And we'll just do mobile menu dot I. Actually, we'll just do mobile menu and we'll do display none. Right now it's not responsive yet, so that's why it's kind of overlapping, but yeah. We can do display none, also do a few other stuff, but I don't think I need to do anything. If I just do that and mobile menu, so we have two of these here. So we have all of these. So I can just cut this, right? And come down here and can just cut that, come down, and just paste that here. So we already have this. If I do display flex here, it's right there. So I'm not gonna too complicate it. I'm just gonna put it there. We can do display none, and there we go. Next thing that we can do is start styling our media queries. So we have really big list of media queries. Since this is actually really difficult to make it responsive in this kind of case, right? We have already finished all of our styling. We only need the responsiveness. So first what I'm going to do is do media queries and put max width, set that to 768 pixels. How to start it? I'm going to start with headers. So padding, I'm going to decrease that by 1 rem on that and 2 rem, 3% on the cross axis, right? Next, I'm going to do the mobile menu. I'm gonna make it display flex here. So if I just, there we go, it appears. Next thing I need to do is make the nav links responsive. That is completely changing the nav link. So we'll do nav links. We'll make it position fixed. Also do top 70 pixels. We'll do left minus 100%. We'll do width, set that to 100%. And if I do height, we'll calculate by doing calculate. We don't know, so we'll do 100v edge minus 70 pixels, which is the top, right? And I can just do background to white. Also do flex direction set to column. We'll do padding 2 rem. We'll do about gap 1 rem. Also do transition left 0.3 seconds at ease. And box shadow will basically do 0, 5 pixels, 20 pixels, and RGB is set to that. Also set the Z index to 999. Okay, so now if I in active, I'll set the position to left 0. Now what I can do is if I just come down here and put active here, this should come, it should make the thing pop out, right? If I just do that, it should be right like that. There we go. Right now it doesn't look nice because we have this, but if we flex this, it will look nice. Don't trust me. So I'm gonna remove the active bar for now. So we need to put the whole sidebar on down. So we need to do that. Next, we'll just do nav links and do li here. We'll set the width to about 100%. And we'll do text align set to center. We'll also do padding 1 rem and 0. Next is border bottom. Oops. Okay, I was not supposed to do that. We'll do border bottom set to 1 pixel solid and do F0, F0, F0. There we go. Now next is hero, right? We need to decrease the size of hero. So I'll just do hero padding set to 2 rem and 3%, just like that. Okay, not do that. And also do hero description, decrease that by a little bit. And then the font size. Next is hero description BR. We'll do display none. Right? And here I'll just do, we're basically removing the BR. We'll do features. We'll set the flex direction to column since it's very small. And do align items set to center and gap set to 1 rem. There we go. So next is all of this, right? After features, we have feature tag. We'll do width 100%. Also put the max width to around 250 pixels actually. And do justify content center. There we go. Next is client stats. We'll do flex direction set to column. Also do gap 1 rem. Okay. Next we have is video container image. We'll set the height to about 300%. Next we have is the play button. So we'll just do play button, set the width to around 60 pixels and height to about 60 pixels. Next is the stats. We are basically making everything responsive. So we'll do flex direction column. I don't think we have to do anything. We'll put the gap of 2 rem. There we go. Next we have is the stat number. We'll do font size set to 2 RAM. Next is services. We'll just do services. We'll do padding set to 2 RAM and 3%. There we go. And we'll do section title. We'll do font size set to 1.8 RAM. There we go. And we'll do service grid. We'll basically do grid template column per fraction, so everything is in one fraction. And we'll do service card highlight, and we'll do min height set to 300 pixels. That's for the highlight. Next thing we have is the sidebar hero. So then do padding 2 RAM and 1.5 RAM. Next is for the sidebar hero. So we'll do sidebar hero h2. We'll decrease the font size by about 1.5 RAM. We'll do hero stats. And we'll decrease it by being position set to static. Right? That's the default position, by the way. And we'll do flex direction set to row. We'll do margin top 1 rem. And okay. What am I doing? We'll do margin top 1 rem. Also do justify content. Justify. Where's happening? Justify content space between. And there we go. Next is stat badge. We'll basically make stat badge. Also do min width set to auto. And padding set to 0.8 rem. Right. And yeah, I think it should be done after that. But give me a second. I need to drink water, guys. So next thing what we have here is we have stat badge. So after stat badge, we have the stat badge strong, right? We'll decrease the font size by 1.3 rem. Next is stat badge span. Decrease that by font size 0.7 rem. Next is testimonial. We'll do margin set to 1 rem. So do padding 1 rem and 1.5 rem. One thing I can do is hero stat also put a margin block. There we go. Instead of being margin top, I basically put margin block. So it basically applies margin on y-axis of this, right? So testimonial, I'm just gonna do that. We have a tree of testimonial. Decrease the font size by 1.3 rem. And there we go. Next we have is testimonial text. Oops. Decrease that by 0.9 rem. Next we have is the appointment form. So we'll do appointment form. We'll do margin 1 rem, margin 1 rem, and we'll do padding 2 rem and 1.5 rem. There we go. We'll do form row. Grid template columns, we'll do 1 fraction. And do last footer, we'll do margin set to 1 rem and padding 2 rem and 1.5 rem. Right. There we go. Next is footer bottom. One thing I realized is it's not that responsive for bigger screen sizes between that. Like, actually I should probably just do media first, actually make it kind of responsive for decent screen sizes. So we'll add another here saying about 1400 pixels, and we'll not do anything but put the sidebar width to around 400 pixels. Kind of forgot to do this step. And what else? We can do main content and margin right, since the, we can do that, right? Next, what we can do is I can just copy paste actually. Instead of doing this is for 1200 pixels, I can basically position this relative and width set that to 100% and set the height to auto. So it should go down just like that. Now the sidebar width is 100% and height is auto. Next we have to change the main content here. We'll do margin right 0. That'll fix. It should fix that. It is kind of weird. The reason why it's weird is the actual sidebar, the main content, is not 0. So if I just what I can do is I do sidebar width to 400 and put the main navbar to 100%. If I do nav, I can just do flex wrap. Oh no, not flex wrap. We'll just set that to run with 100%. We'll do margin right 0. So if I just search main content, right? Oh wait, no. There we go. I was confused for a second. What? Why did I write that twice? Okay, next is what I can do is just style the hero a little bit to font size 2.5 rem. There we go. And at last, we'll basically style the service grid to be around repeat 2 per fraction. That's pretty much it. So that is responsive now. And next, what we can do is probably make it responsive for a little more smaller size. You can just copy paste that. So this will be for 9992, right? We'll put the navbar to flex wrap set to wrap. Also do dot contact info to do display none. We don't need that. Okay, we're not supposed to do that. format document, and do hero h1, set that to 2.2 rem. We'll do stats, set that to gap 3 rem, and do stat number, do font size set to 2.5 rem, and footer content to about grid template columns repeat 2 per fraction. So that is responsive for that amount, right? So right after we cross that, it should make that thing appear. Now, if I put active, it should look nice like that. So that was what the idea was primarily, but my mistake. Okay, so after doing all of that, we are basically at almost end of our thing, right? We are almost at the end. What else needs to be responsive here is probably the footer. We don't need that much of the footer content. It kind of looks vacant here, so I can basically change that. But instead of that, I don't think we have to make anything responsive here. It's already responsive. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. That is pretty much it for the responsive. It's responsive for every single screen size here. So if I come down here like that, it will change that to that, and there we go. Now, it's not responsive or super small, obviously, but for the lowest screen that is iPhone SE, it's definitely responsive. Right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for the CSS part of the things. The only thing we have to do is probably just use JS now. So in JS, we'll do minor things, but not do over too complicated here. So let's start with JS. The first thing we have to do is probably have the thing work. So this thing right here, you can just do const mobile menu button. Either you can do that or we'll do that. That's better actually. Undo document dot query selector, and we'll just do dot mobile menu button. It'll give me the mobile button. In this case, we don't need that, so I can just do that. Next we need the nav links. I'm just gonna copy paste that, do nav links, and put nav links right here, right? Next is we have to listen to this. We'll put an add event listener here. We'll listen to a click. When we hear a click, we'll run a function that basically changes the class list and we'll toggle active, right? And that's pretty much it. Also, we don't need to actually put this here because we actually don't have a class list to put there. I can basically just do if mobile menu dot class list, we can do contains. We'll check if it contains FAS, FA bars, or we can just check FA bars. If he does that, we'll change that to this dot class list dot replace. We'll replace the bars. We'll replace the bars to the times, so which is a cross icon. Right, where did I mess up here? Okay, I'm writing the whole thing here, which I'm not supposed to. I need to do that. Okay, so we'll do that. There we go, just like that. We'll change that to that. Also do navlinks dot class list dot toggle, and we'll just do active, right? So in case it should work. If I do here, mobile menu does not contain that, so I actually need to check for I. So if I do that, that will basically change to that. Now this thing is not working. I need to check why is it not working. And okay, did I mess up syntax somewhere? Oh, it's FAS. F is FA, not FAS. Okay, there we go. Now we haven't made the on toggle logic, so we'll put else block here. We'll copy the same thing. I'll replace the times with bars and we'll toggle. So this should work. And there we go. That works. That is our mobile menu. Next thing I can do is basically add the closing menu. So, I mean, it still works, but yeah, it should work like that. I also want that when we click on the mobile menu, nav links, I want it to close because it will not make sense. Right, so what I need to do here is loop all of this. So we'll do document dot where selector all will loop all of the nav links. We'll do nav links A. We'll do for each link, and we'll loop all of these. We'll do link dot add event listener. We'll listen to everything here, and we'll run function for each of these. I misspelled function. We'll do mobile menu button dot class list dot remove. We'll remove active, right? And we'll also do navlinks dot class list and we'll remove active. So let's see if this works. If I do that, it should close, but it doesn't. We need to check why it doesn't work. So we'll do for each. This should be inside or outside that, right? So we'll do for each. We basically loop the thing, and here we basically do link dot adding listener. We listen to that, and we'll do mobile menu button. Mobile menu button is the icon, right? Now we will basically remove the active from that, but we don't have an active on this. So what I need to do is also, I can basically close. We can just do replace. Okay, I made two mistakes. One is this, right? What is, so a star. So we have this, so we don't have a closing statement for this, I think. There we go. So one is for that makes sense. Next we have to Hit replace, actually. We'll do replace, do FA times, okay, FA times, we'll replace that by FA bars. Okay. One thing it doesn't take me is doesn't take me anywhere. The reason for that is I haven't given any IDs. I actually forgot about that. So let's just quickly do that then. We'll do services. We have hero section. We have about section. So for about section, I don't think we have anything to provide. So we'll just give an ID of services. Like that. We don't have any blog post too, right? So for blog post, we'll just put it like that. So if I now do home, it will take me to home. Another thing I want to add is a smooth scrolling. So to do that, I can do HTML. We'll put scroll behavior to smooth. If I come down here and click on home, it will transfer me to that with a smooth animation. And yeah, that should be pretty much it for that. Another thing I want to do is also close this by clicking on somewhere around here. Now that is the container for the nav links, right? So what I can do is if I get a click on the document, which is like anywhere when we have the navbar opened, so I'm just gonna close it. I can do I can basically just copy paste this. Instead of doing that, we'll just do, actually we cannot do that. We'll do document.add image listener. We'll listen to a click. When we hear a click, we'll run a function. You can basically do whatever you want here, so I'm just gonna put that there. Next, what I can do is we'll check if not e.target.closes. We'll check if it's navbar, right? Whatever the user click, we'll check if the closest is navbar. If it is, I'm just gonna do the same thing and put that there. So if I just do that and click on somewhere around here, it should change it. But yeah. And there we go. If I'm getting any errors here, if I am, I don't think so. It should be fine. So the next thing we have to do is add a alert when you click on play the button. So this will basically be a small function we can add. So we'll do play button equals to document dot query selector, and we'll just do dot play button. We'll get the DOM. This didn't work, so I'm gonna cut this out. I don't know why it didn't work. If I just copy paste that, wait, I need to check if why it did not work. I just do that and I mean, it works when you click on here, but that's a given, right? But yeah, it's not working when you click on outside. You know what? I'm gonna leave it for now because the stream is already too long and I don't want to be, putting all of this. I'm gonna add a simple click. So if you just click, what happens, we'll run a function. And this is a very simple, it will just basically say video player would open here. Now, if you can also add a real video to play, it's like completely doable. You can use a video tag and put the controls. But yeah. So right now I have a testimonials, right? So I have bunch of array of objects which we can use to basically make a carousel slider. Now to do that, we need a bunch of data. Right now we only have one, and which is a static, right? If we click on that, we need data. So I have a array of object with me. I'm just gonna copy paste. So this is a array of objects which has text, again, text being this, like the thing, right? And the author is the name of a person. Role is the entry a month ago, whatever you want. Image is basically the avatar. So it has a bunch of different data, so you can basically loop around. That's why we have this. We can also check the source code in a description. We haven't done anything. We have an array of objects with different data for this specific testimonial, right? So to switch between the testimonial. Now, I'm just going to set a variable to check or keep track of the current testimonial. Let's say the current testimonial is at 0, which is the index, right? Now, I'm going to do function update testimonial. And we'll do index here. And we'll just do const testimonials equals to testimonials index. We'll pass the index. So we have an array with index 0 at this, index 1 at this, index 2 at this. You get the point. So we're basically first getting the, we're setting the testimonial, or not, we're getting the value from the index to the array of objects. We're basically fetching that using the current testimonial, right? Which will be passed from here. Now what I can do here is just do document.querySelector all. We'll get all of the DOMs. Now this is basically a function to, make that. So we'll do testimonial text, and we'll do text content. We'll put that to testimonial dot text, and there we go. So testimonial is this. I can basically cut that out. And there we go. That's testimonial. I can just copy paste these a bunch of times. Now next is testimonial author img. So I can do that. Now this is not a text, this is the image, so we'll have to change the source attribute. So I'll do src, and we have the image attribute here. I'm just gonna select that. Right. Next we have is info for h4, which is the name of the author. So I'm just going to do author, since author here author here is the key for the name of the author. Now next is paragraph. Now in this case, I'm just going to do info p. Now paragraph in this case, let me see what it is. It's text, right? Oh no, it's basically the role. So what I need to do is basically put role here. Now, one thing, what I'm going to do is we'll check if the last index, right? If it's the last index, what I'm going to do is first we need to check the condition. How to do that? We'll do testimonial nav is greater than div last child. So this is a condition if the testimonial navbar is greater than the value of the last child. In this case, we'll basically say what I'm going to do is revert back to its original position. So we'll just do that, and we'll basically index plus 1. and we'll just divide it. We'll do out of 5. Just like that. And there we go. So next we can actually start putting into the thing. We'll do document dot query selector all. We'll get nav arrow, which is both of these, right? We'll do nav arrow and do for each. So we don't have an array right now, so we'll put that. So we need 2 of these. So first is arrow and next is index. We need both of these since we are making carousel slider. We'll do not slider technically, but yeah, we'll do add event listener and we'll listen to a click. When we hear a click, we'll basically just do that. And if index is greater than 0, or not greater, equals to 0, we'll check the current testimonial. We'll set that to the value current testimonial minus 1 plus testimonial dot length, just like that. Not testimonial, testimonials dot length. And to make sure it doesn't overbound, right, we'll always divide it by testimonial dot length. In case if we do go out of bound, right, it will revert back to its original position. We'll do else and do current testimonial equals to, we'll do the same thing, but this time I'm only going to do +1. So in this case, if the index is 0, which is initial position, we'll basically first subtract 1 and add the length and basically mod it by length. So we'll give a specific value here, which is the next thing. Now this will basically prevent any of the index out of bound, like the mod specifically here. If we were to go like it's like 3 out of 5 and 4 out of 5 and 5 out of 5, what next? Now when you click it, it should revert back. So if it doesn't, we have to fix it. If it does, that's great. It should. We'll do testimonial. We'll send the current testimonial. And let's see if it works. So it does work, right? So we'll basically switch between that. One thing is that this is not updating the text. So we'll need to see what is we are updating. So we need to increment this. We did increment here, but I think we messed up somewhere. So we'll see if what we messed up here. The console, there's a lot of errors. So can I set properties to that? So we need to check if, okay, we cannot see the author. We're getting null type on console. Update testimonials. We cannot set the type errors to null. So we're getting error right at here. Testimonial author. What did I put there? Testimonial author. So we are not getting the value of testimonial author for some reason. It's always Julian's. That's funny. I do author here. You have to check what is null here. Oh, okay. So I misspelled the thing. I was thinking why it says null value. So I need to do author info. There we go. So now it should work. Yeah, okay, it does work. And yeah, pretty silly mistake, but yeah. Okay, next is form submission. So we'll just do a quick little form submission. We're not gonna overcomplicate things here. Okay, so we'll do appointment form and we'll get the form. We'll add a event listener here. we'll listen to a submit. When we do listen to a submit, we'll run a function, right? We'll first prevent default here to get rid of the free default events, and we'll put an alert message saying appointment request submitted. We will contact you shortly. Like that. Also reset everything. Desktop reset. Right, so this will basically reset the form. That's pretty much it. I'm also gonna format the document. Next thing we have is the newsletter, right? So for newsletter subscription, what I'm gonna do is for newsletter, right? Where do we like newsletter? So this will basically just get the value, and we'll just put a thank you message. So for that, what I can do is actually do the same thing here, and we can change that to newsletter, and we'll do newsletter button. We'll listen to a click, and instead of doing all of that, we'll put the prevent default, but we'll do const. We'll get email and do document dot query selector. I put a syntax error here and do dot news letter and do input. We'll get the value from that, and if the value exists, we'll just do alert dot not dot alert, and just put a thank you message. Thank you for subscribing to our newsletter. We'll put that, reset the value. So we'll just do, actually, okay. There we go. And we'll reset the value to email equals to none. That is pretty much it. And yeah, so if I can do form, right? We'll do form. So if I get the form here, form group, so we have forms. We'll do autocomplete. Autocomplete, set that to off. So if I do that, it shouldn't give me any of the autocomplete, so that's great. Next thing what I can do is give email here. So newsletter will give me email. I'm also gonna put autocomplete off here, so it will not autocomplete anything here, so that's great. So if I put something like code in add gmail.com, when you click on this will basically do that. This would reset, but it doesn't. So that is interesting. At least let's see if this works. We'll just do that. We'll put that appointment time that, and we'll do submit. This should reset, and it does reset. So this doesn't reset. So one thing that I am thinking that it's not working because of is it's the same thing, but I'm just gonna do that. We'll see if this works. There we go. Because it was the same value, because we stored it, that's why it was not working. I guess that's pretty much it. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So we have one last push here. So one last thing that we have to make is the animation here. So we'll do that in a bit. So first I'm gonna drink water. Give me a second, guys. Now here to do that, what I'm gonna do is we're gonna use intersection observers, right? So I'm gonna make an object of that first. So we'll do const observer equals to new intersection observer. Now, intersection observer constructor takes the function as a parameter of like what will be the function which will be used to observe. So we'll do a function, we'll create a function which will take entries, right? Now we'll loop all of the entries. Entries are basically the HTML elements we are observing to put in effect when the elements are observed in the user screen. So we'll do for each entry in entries. We'll loop all of that. We'll see if its entry is intersecting, right? We'll just check if it's intersecting. We'll do is intersecting, and if it is, we'll just do entry.target. Now target will get the HTML element, and we'll just let the style and opacity will convert that to 1, right? I'm just gonna copy that again. So next thing we have to change is the another property. So we'll change the transform property to be its original position. Now you might be thinking it's already at that, so what will it make any difference to that, right? We have to change the opacity and the translate property when we are applying to those. So we'll just do, and we also need another object to be sent here, which will have two properties. One is threshold. Now threshold is how much percent do you want it to be as a threshold before the actual effect is triggered. So we'll just take 0.5, so that's almost 50%. Next is root margin. Root margin is like a imaginary margin. We'll just put 0 pixels for now. Right, so that is the function. What I can do is we have made the object. Now we have to actually apply or use the object on the HTML elements. So what I'm going to do here is select or get all of the things that we want to put the effect on. So stat item and service card. So that will be the two HTML elements I want to put this effect on. So this is this effect. Opacity equals to 1. Transform is translate y at 0. So it already has those things. So we have to change it from its original position first. So we'll do L basically being our element, right? So we'll do L.style opacity. So we'll change the opacity to 0, right? And I'm just gonna copy paste. Next is transform. We'll put translate at y to be 20 pixels from its original position. And next is transition. We'll do transition and we'll do all 0.3 seconds at ease. We'll do observer.observe. We'll observe all the elements. See that? Now if I just refresh, it will have that kind of effect. And there we go. So that is pretty much it for today's thing. Right? That is pretty much it. We don't have anything else to style. Everything is styled and it's working. It's fully responsive too, with a good navbar. If I just go to iPhone SE, it's also responsive for this specific screen size, which is probably the lowest screen size you can probably make responsive for. And yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I hope you liked this stream. If you did, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Until then, I'll see you guys in another stream or another video. Who knows? So, bye-bye. I'm going to end the stream.